When a 19-year-old ethical hacker successfully breached a massive government IT portal recently, the expected outcome was a swift crackdown, but the aftermath didn't follow the typical script of a digital crime. The target was the Central Board of Secondary Education, or CBSE. It is a massive, highly traditional legacy system that governs the academic futures of millions of Indian students. Instead of silencing the teenager or pressing criminal charges, the authorities took a highly unusual route. They officially requested his help. They asked Nisk Adhikari, the hacker, to assist them in identifying the security gaps in their own IT framework so they could patch them. India is currently upgrading its global infrastructure at a high-speed pace, but these modern systems are being forced through rigid, older institutions. The result is an intense structural friction. A look at a single 24-hour news cycle reveals a nation moving in two directions at once, securing global milestones while simultaneously facing boiling friction over basic rights and infrastructure. We can see the scale of the state's reach by starting offshore. This is the coastline of the Andaman Islands. Just 15 kilometers out from this shoreline, Oil India Limited has discovered heavy natural gas reserves. If the exact volume matches initial expectations, this single find significantly accelerates the country's push toward energy independence. In Gujarat, the state government has already initiated a project to move all power lines underground by 2030, an ambitious attempt to modernize the grid against future environmental stresses. Domestically, the scale of physical infrastructure is expanding rapidly. The new Navi Mumbai International Airport Terminal stands as a modern engineering achievement driven directly by the state. And the state is pairing these facilities with cultural markers. Chief Minister Devendra Fadnavis recently inaugurated a towering bronze statue of Chhatrapati Shivaji Maharaj directly at the airport, stamping the new infrastructure with a heavy assertion of regional legacy. This authority extends to law enforcement. In Uttar Pradesh, the state recently dismantled the network of Atiq Ahmed, seizing 160 crore rupees in property and locking down an international slaughterhouse. Viewed from above, the administrative machinery appears to be an unstoppable machine, securing wealth, energy, and cultural dominance for the coming decades. But there is a second reality happening at the ground level. For millions of young citizens, the immediate experience is one of boiling frustration. In Punjab, youths gathering outside the electricity board office to demand employment were met with a police lathicharge, leaving protesters and officers injured. The friction over jobs is matched by a crisis in education. Following the return of founder Abhijit Dipke, a wave of student protests flooded Jantar Mantar. These protesters are placing direct pressure on legacy institutions, specifically demanding the resignation of the education minister, Dharmendra Pradhan. The contrast is sharpest when you look at individual talent. While basic employment boards and exams struggle to function, individual Indian youth are excelling. Chess legend Pragnananda just defeated a lineup of elite grandmasters to win a major championship in Norway. The paradox is a nation capable of producing world-beating prodigies and executing massive infrastructural projects, yet simultaneously struggling to manage the daily demands of its populace without resorting to force. It's tempting to look at the protests and the lathicharges as evidence of a failing state. But these clashes are a volatile transition phase, occurring as a country tries to scale its old bureaucracy to match its new ambitions overnight. This diagram shows the long-term mathematical problem. A state cannot effectively run a high-tech grid in 2030 if it ignores the immediate educational and employment needs of the generation inheriting it. The demographic weight will simply tilt the balance too far. Survival over the next decade will likely depend on institutional flexibility, the ability of a government to adapt its rigid structures in response to the pressure from its citizens. This brings us back to the CBSE incident. By asking a teenager who breached their security for technical help, the board demonstrated how a legacy system can survive modern challenges by absorbing the talent that challenges it. The systems that thrive will be those willing to drop their egos and embrace the youth to fix internal vulnerabilities. Progress in the coming years won't just be measured by new airports or gas fines, but by how well the state learns to adapt, rather than relying on a lathicharge to make the future go away.